Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone. I love y'all. I missed y'all. I'm sorry that I didn't see you guys last week, but I'm excited to be with you tonight. And I'm actually coming to you from a different location, spending time with family this evening after we lost someone that we love dearly. But it's good to see people come together, love on one another. And I just want to tell y'all, listen, we never know if we're going to be here from one day to the next. With that being said, make sure that whoever it is around you that you are related to, that you are good friends with, make sure that you tell them that you love them today because we don't actually know that we have tomorrow. Make sure that if you guys have any grudges, because 9 times out of 10, y'all, these grudges that we be holding with our friends and family, they're petty, and just understand that when you guys come back together, although we do have to discuss the issues, make sure that you're in a place where you can love on that person and communicate well so that you can move past it. And let's not hold grudges over petty things. Let's love each other while we actually have the opportunity to do so. So I didn't come before you guys last week. I had to go recharge my battery. I got to go out with one of my good friends. Her name is Unique Sarah Pittman on Facebook. Y'all make sure you look her up and also connect with her on her business page, Mary Grace Southern Style Cooking. Listen, she opened up her food truck today, you guys, and I am so extremely proud of her. She works really hard and she opens it up today. The food is absolutely delicious. So you guys can catch her 40th and Steel. She's going to be in front of Mr. A's. Most of us know that well. And you'll be able to catch her there tomorrow. She has some really good food, y'all. Let me tell you something. I don't even like cheesy grits. I don't like grits at all. But this girl makes some creamy, cheesy grits that she serves with either shrimp, chicken, or catfish. I had the shrimp today. Absolutely delicious. And try to fight my want to take a nap today was a whole journey for me. So you guys make sure you go check her out. That being said, we're just winging it tonight, you guys. I don't have anything in particular that I wanted to come before you about, except to say that I am really happy to come back to you guys and report that as we've been doing the Just Talking, there are people that have reached out to me from all different walks of life, and they are sharing their own stories of trauma. We're doing some healing work together. I tell you guys when I come on here all the time, I'm not an expert. I'm not a therapist. I don't have any credentials, but what I do know is that at one point in my life, there were things that I experienced that were traumatic, and there were healing processes that I have been through and gone through, and I'm happy to come on every week and share that with you guys. So I just want to tell each and every one of you that I love you. I know that, as the holidays come up and are upon us, make sure you check in with your friends. Make sure that you check in with your family members, even your coworkers, guys. Check in with them. If people's behavior changes drastically, if a person goes from being bubbly and happy all the time to now maybe being quiet and not speaking as much, don't overlook drastic changes in people's behavior. The holidays are hard for a lot of people because they lose their loved ones and they don't have them to celebrate with. It's a difficult time for people who are alone. So make sure that you check in with your family members, check in with your coworkers. Just a simple, "Are you okay?" a lot of times is all it takes. Make sure that people know that you are there to provide love for them. Make sure that they know that just because they lost their loved ones don't mean that there aren't still people who love them. We all know that suicide rates get higher during the holiday season. So make sure that you check in with people. If you haven't heard from your loved ones that you're accustomed to hearing from on a regular basis, make sure you check in with them. If they don't answer the phone when you call, go by their house. And if it gets too long that you haven't heard from them, be sure that you check in with them. And if you have to, send a welfare check. It gets real around these times. People get sad. People get depressed. If you are one of those people, there are many, many people that you can reach out to. And I will always post in the comments different hotlines that you can call. If you don't feel comfortable speaking to somebody on the phone, there are places that you can actually text someone and they can get in and they will sit and text or chat with you that way. But make sure that you check in with people. This is a very, very difficult time for people. And I just want to say that as well. You know, when you're thinking about hurting yourself, when you're out here, you're feeling sad, you're feeling lonely, there are truly people that love you. And sometimes all it takes is reaching out to them and talking to them and saying, I need you. I need help. I need you to listen. So if you're struggling, sometimes people can't know if you don't speak up and you don't tell them. So that's kind of what I just really wanted to come on for a moment and say hello to you guys. I didn't really have a specific topic tonight. Like I said, there were family members that got together tonight because a loved one was lost. And so certainly to anyone else who has that same situation going on, let's make sure, guys, that we say it all the time. Let's not just meet up at funerals and then we only meet up at funerals. Let's not let that be the case anymore. We don't, and you know, as we come upon this holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we don't have to wait for those occasions for our entire families to get together. Let's start being more diligent, you guys, about contacting our family members, and let's pull together outside of that. You know, let's get together on a random weekend and say, hey, let's barbecue. Let's get together. Let's see what's going on in each other's lives. Let's make sure our kids know one another. I think that now, the time that we're living in, we don't spend as much time getting together. And I can tell you that one of the things that I miss about when I was young is that all of our neighbors knew each other. All of our families got together on a regular basis. And I know that COVID has put us in a position where we don't necessarily get to do those same things all the time, but there are now starting to be ways around that. And we need to make sure that now that things are opened back up while we have the opportunity, let's get together with people. Let's stop going to funerals and saying all of the meaningful things that people did to impact our lives and not letting them know that before they leave here. You know, how much more awesome do you think life would be if you told people how they impacted your life in a positive way, how they walked you through a situation that was difficult for you? There are a lot of people out here that as they're feeling lonely and they're feeling down, just hearing that and knowing that they impacted lives in that way is very meaningful. So let's not wait until they're gone to give them their flowers, okay? And I think that one of the things that I want to say before we get off here this evening is that there are a lot of children out here that they're going through a lot of different things. You know, society is very different than it was than when people like myself were young. I'm 42. And there are a lot of situations in which, you know, let's make sure that the kids know that they have support. And I want to make sure that we also know that as these holidays are coming up, you know, let's try to support children who are in foster care. Let's try to support. Oh my God, did the lights just go off on me? It sure did, y'all. And I think it burns out and everything. Hold up. Now we got to relocate. Look at the devil. Ain't he trying to just cut us off? I don't know what I was getting ready to say, but it must have been real because he just done shut the lights off on me. Lord, today. All right, so we are back in business, but I just wanted to say, let's make sure that let's support our babies, y'all. These are holiday times where a lot of these kids who are in foster care, they're in juvenile facilities, things like that, and they don't have the support from their families. They don't have a family that they get to celebrate with. And let's do what we can to pull together as a community and make sure that they know that they're supported and that they are loved, and give them a reason to work hard to get out of the places that they're in. We all have something that we can do to contribute. So I'm actually not going to stay with you guys long tonight. Y'all know how I am. I try to come on here. I want to make sure that I love on you guys, make sure that you know that I'm available to you. Again, you guys can always feel free to hit me on my inbox and let me know that you need somebody to reach out to. I'm always here for you. And I love you if nobody has told you that. I really, really mean that from the bottom of my heart. But y'all know that I'm not about coming on here and talking just to hear myself talk, even though it's called Just Talking. But I try to only really come before you with the things that God puts in my spirit. And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read the comments because I want to make sure that I respond to anybody. The children are hurt and they are not protected by the county. Most of them don't care. I pray for the babies. And that is actually true. The county, and sometimes you guys, it's not even so much that the county doesn't care at all. A lot of times what happens is that they're so overwhelmed with the number of children that they have to be responsible for, the number of children that they have to take care of. Sometimes they just don't have the ability to give these kids that one-on-one attention that they need. And sometimes they do fall through the cracks. And it is very unfortunate. But having been a caseworker for Child Protective Services myself, I can tell you that a lot of times they actually just get really overwhelmed. I mean, some of us are struggling with just 1, 2, or 3 kids. But could you imagine if you had to be responsible for 30 or 40 kids? And it is unfortunate. There are more kids that need help in the system than there are caseworkers available. So Jonathan is asking, how do we go about doing our part? You know, you can reach out to your local human services department. You can ask about any mentorship programs that you can get into where you can provide long-term mentorship to someone who's either in foster care or juvenile facilities. You can ask them about ways that you can donate either money or clothing items or different things that you have available to donate. You can ask about events that they might be having, or create your own event. You know, create an event for at-risk children, and reach out to your local county department to see if there's a way that you can get connected with them. If you guys are watching this live and you have access to those resources, or you know kids that are at risk, you know, definitely reach out to some of the people that are available, or make yourself known so that people can reach out to you. You know, we have Pee-wee football leagues and all of those kind of things. Reach out to your local coaches, reach out to your cheer coaches, reach out to your local school. Ask them about opportunities that they have for volunteering. Ask them about events that you might be able to come inside the school and do. Ask them about creating opportunities for speaking engagements. Yes. Social services, it's rough. I mean, I work there. In some capacity, I've been working with social services, Miss Tracy, for about over 20 years. And I had some dealing with that institution when I was a child, just because of the some of the things that I was going through, but also because with my mother having passed away. I got some white stuff right here, y'all. But anyway, with my mother having passed away and living with family, there were times at which we were involved with social services. But I can definitely tell you, people get burned out. You know, there are disparities in that system where sometimes people of color don't get treated appropriately. And that's another thing, you guys. Sometimes if you're aware that there's a family that's going through that system, if you have inside knowledge on that situation, you know, sometimes volunteer yourself as an advocate, because a lot of times everybody who's got an open Child Protective Services case, they may be, you know, going through some things in life that are definitely some hiccups, but they're not always horrible parents, you guys. Sometimes they're young and they just need a little bit of guidance. Sometimes they're just situations in which something very basic could help them out. But a lot of times social services can make that very difficult. And that being said, I think that one of the things that we also need to be very diligent about is making sure that we come together as a community, and you know, let's come together as a community so that social services doesn't even have to get involved. You know, there's a lot of times in which you have families that end up in that system. And if we had come together as neighbors, if we had come together, you know, sometimes that's something that I was thinking about earlier. We point out situations, we talk about people, and we don't do anything to help, you know, but sometimes it just comes down to making sure that we have, just making ourselves available as a resource, making sure that we come together as a community. If you see a family in your neighborhood and you know that they don't have the ability to feed their children like they should, sometimes go to that home, talk to that mother. Don't just talk about her because her kids are out there late at night, and you're thinking, where is she and what is she going through? Because remember, in this platform, we are discussing trauma, right? And most people who find themselves in situations where they may be neglecting their children, it could be a result of some sort of trauma. And it could be as simple as making sure that we just check in with that person. Hey, sis, how can we help you? What can we do to get you back on track? But I think that a lot of times what happens, and I'm not going to pull myself out of that equation. Sometimes we're just so consumed with the things that we're doing in our own life that we actually don't have time to see about each other and what's going on. So sometimes, instead of looking at people and just judging them and say, girl, there she is again. She got her kids out there. It's after dark and them kids is out there playing. No, walk those children home and try to talk to their mother. See what's going on with her. See if she needs anything, see if she may be in a situation where she's just kind of depressed a little bit. And I'm here to tell you that, listen, when you're experiencing high levels of depression, it could be difficult to even take care of yourself, much less your children. So that's why the community has to go. We have to come together. And it's important that we make sure that we are being that community support and not talking about these people, especially after their kids are gone. And now our babies are now in a system where they're going to grow up and have some of the same issues that their parents have. Because let me tell you, just because social services is there, now they are a beautiful resource for some children, but for other children, a lot of the trauma that they're going to experience is going to be as a result of being in that system. It is unfortunate, you guys, but it does happen. We do have facilities where some of these children are being placed in foster care, placed in residential treatment centers, and they are being re-abused in those situations. There are children going to group homes. There are children going to some of these foster care places, and that's where they're getting molested by foster parents who, these are supposed to be the safe people. You took me from my parents because you said they weren't capable, and sometimes things happen worse in foster care than they were in that home. So let's come together and start, as a community. When you're out there, if you're a football mom and you're going out there and you see a girl and she keeps coming and those kids are half dressed or not appropriately dressed for the weather, don't sit there and talk about her with the other moms. Go over and be that person to say, hey, sis, what's going on? Do your kids have a coat? What's happening here? What kind of help do you need? Some of you have access to resources. Some of y'all have coats in your closets that your kids can't fit anymore. Instead of talking about that woman, take a coat out there and give it to her. Sometimes all people need is for somebody to reach out to them and let them know that they care, and then they will open up and let you know what the issues are so that you can provide them some assistance. Let's not be so caught up in our own lives that we don't make time to do that, you guys. We are a community. And the one thing that we have gotten away from is community parenting. When I was little, everybody on the block knew who everybody else's children were. And if somebody didn't have the things that they needed, that whole block would come together. Y'all remember rent parties? I know some of the kids that might look at this, they're too old to know what those were, but we came together. And we made sure that everyone had the things that they needed. And you're right. Yes, Tracy, let them know that they are important because everybody is. And let me tell y'all something. Some of y'all need to extend the same grace that you keep receiving from God to other people. Because at the end of the day, even if nobody sees the things that you have done, even if nobody sees the person that you used to be, God sees and he knows everything. And we take his grace and we take his mercy, and he expects us to extend that to the next person. So let's not be judgmental because we don't always know what's going on in people's lives. And you guys, before I go, I want you to know, Tracy, can you post a link for people in the comments so that they can go buy your book? So her book is called In the Eyes of Darkness, Searching for God and the Devil's Playground. It is an awesome book, you guys, about just situations in which sometimes we're searching for God. And sometimes the only connection that somebody's going to have to God is the one that you have to provide. Sometimes the only conversation about God that someone has heard is the one that you give them. Sometimes people need to hear your testimony about the things that God has done for you, so that they know that they have that hope to hold on to as well. So she can post a link in the comments, you guys, and I encourage you to go check out the book. It was really amazing. I read it. I have to get mine signed by the author. But make sure you guys go do that. And so at the end of all of this, I just really want to say, love on somebody, and especially those of us that are out here walking around professing about how much we love God and all of the things that he has done for us. Let me tell you something. Your love and relationship is nothing with God if you can't extend that love to other people, if you can't love on other people the same way. So this is the contribution that I try to make, coming here to be transparent, letting you know that I am not perfect, nor do I try to be, but I do walk in faith. I do. I'm sorry. It's called Innocent Eyes, Looking for God in the Devil's Playground. I'm sorry I got that wrong, but I read it thoroughly, you guys. I'm sorry I got the title wrong, but y'all go look for that. But just be that extension of God's love. I'm here. I'm not perfect, but I love God, and I do the things that he prompts me to do, what he places in my spirit. This is my way of loving on you guys. And again, you are welcome to reach out to me. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday, the rest of the weekend. Love on each other. If you see a woman in the store and she's yelling at her children and she's all frustrated, instead of talking about it, reach out to her. Hey, honey, do you need a moment? I'm not asking to walk off with your kids or anything like that. But if you just need to breathe, offer to give them some resources, things like that, and do what we can to love on each other. So Miss Tracy has posted the name of her book in the comments. And you guys can go check that out on Amazon. You will not regret your purchase, I promise you. I'm an avid reader, so I think that I have credentials that I can tell you guys if something was a good read. But definitely go check it out for yourselves. Know that I absolutely love you all. And thank you to everybody who joined me this evening. Next week, we are going to have a guest. And I'm not going to say who he is yet, but I will definitely post the flyer. You'll see midweek what the topic is, what we'll be discussing. And you guys also feel free to reach out to me. If there are things that you would like to discuss, put them in the comments in the inboxes. You can do either one of those things. I do have some amazing people coming up, because I'm not always going to be on here and I be all you see. So thank you so much, Miss Tracy. You are amazing as well. And let me tell y'all, I love how God orchestrates things, because we were already friends on Facebook, but we had never really met in person, Miss Tracy and I. But I started a job working with her where she was doing amazing work. And she has such a beautiful heart. And I was blessed to come together with her. I wasn't actually at that job very long, but to be honest, some of the connections that I made, I think that might have been God's only purpose for me to be there. So anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend. Know that I absolutely love you. Do everything that you can to stay safe. Love on your loved ones while they're here for you to love on them. And I will see you guys next week. Mwah.